Hello and welcome to this O&DR Modurol video, XK8 Stage 1 Exhaust Modification. What is it and how do you fit it? This is video 195 in our series of XK8 videos. This video comes about because we were lucky enough to purchase some very reasonably priced second-hand rear exhaust pipes, Stage 1 straight pipes for our XK8. So in this video we're going to show you a bit of a comparison of the sounds, the lessons learned by us when we fitted them and aligned the tail trims, etc. A few little tricks in there. We'll talk about the exhaust system in general on the XK8 and a little bit about Stage 2. Now, if you're interested in doing these mods, the cost of new parts in the UK in 2023 is £250 for Stage 1 and £250 for Stage 2. Those are the prices given by Adamesh currently, but you can buy them from other places. Now, we've actually previously fitted Stage 2 over-axle pipes when we refurbished the rear suspension unit. And then we did that because that intermediate section, including the mid exhaust boxes, is very difficult to remove in situ. It's actually very easy just to cut it out, and that's what we did. Plus, that intermediate section has a compressed pipe, you can see in the red circle there. So I thought it was actually quite a nice upgrade, if you would, to the exhaust system to get rid of that compressed section. Because these new exhaust pipes are actually all mandrel bent, so there's no thinning of the pipe. We're not actually covering formally fitting the Stage 2 in this video because we've already done it, but you will see some details within the video. We actually also replaced the standard rear box silencers with an aftermarket item, the Romulus Remus versions, which gave a slightly more sporty note. We did that not because we wanted to, more the necessity. The original boxes actually started to rust through, even though they're stainless steel. They were old and they were starting to blow. Now in this video we're going to break it down to separate sections or chapters as we do normally. First of all, we'll talk about what is Stage 1 and Stage 2. If you're not familiar with them, we'll go through that together with the exhaust system part numbers, etc. Secondly, we'll give you a quick comparison of the noise of the two systems before and after. Thirdly, how we actually remove them. Fourth, actually fitting the Stage 1 system. And the fifth section then, the actual alignment of the tail trims, which is a little bit tricky, and how we did it and how we did some slight mods. Okay, first of all, tools and parts then. You're going to need a 10mm spanner, 10mm socket, some lubricant, and a 13mm spanner. Optionally, you might need some U-clamps. They're normally supplied as part of the kit. But also, in our case, we actually purchased exhaust rubber with 3 different heights of holes in, which assists with the alignment later on. So then, okay, what is Stage 1 and Stage 2? So, the standard exhaust system on your XK8 is extremely quiet and refined. The silencers are in 4 sections of exhaust. Here you can see the section parted by the yellow exhaust clamps. So what you've got is, starting from the back, you've got Section 1, the rear silencers and trims. Section 2, what's called the intermediate silencers and the over-axle pipes. Section 3 then is the front silencer, including the crossover box. And fourthly then is the downpipes, including integrated catalytic converters. Obviously after that it bolts directly onto the exhaust manifold. So Stage 1 then is replacing the rear silencers with straight pipes. When somebody talks about Stage 1 exhaust, this is physically what it is, and normally it comes together with larger exhaust tail trims. Stage 2 then is actually replacing the intermediate silencers, again with straight pipes. If you've got a car with Stage 1 and 2, it's basically removing both the intermediate and the rear boxes with straight pipes. Okay, just to make clear then and repeat, for every exhaust silencer you remove, your XK8 will get progressively louder and you'll get more of the V8 noise coming through it, obviously ranging from what is Stage 1, a light burble, Stage 1 and 2, more raucous. If you were to go to Stage 3 and 4, which is that front exhaust silencer removal and high performance cats, it becomes somewhat of a beast. Now, as far as the stage 1 goes, the main differences between the different standard rear boxes is just the hangers and the tail trims that change throughout the model year. However, there are some part numbers. These are the part numbers from the S&G Barrett Group XK8 parts collection. These are all the Jaguar reference numbers if you're interested for your particular vehicle or trying to find the correct second-hand part. But as I say, as far as rear back boxes, it's just minor differences in tail trims and, more importantly, the hangers. As I say, the main difference is the hangers and the exhaust trims. In case of the hangers, model year 1996 to model year 2000 up to VIN A11050 has a hanger pointed sideways, so you need to have that particular hanger on your new pipes. From model year 2001 onwards, right to the end, from VIN A11051, the hanger points rearwards. Obviously, you need to find that part on your new kit. Section 2 then, the noise comparison. So what we got is, this is the startup of my old system, stage 2 and the rear silencers. I find this to be quite a subtle improvement. So one silencer deleted, or two silencers deleted, gave an improvement in the bass growl of the engine. When under throttle, you can definitely hear it with the window open. This is a startup with stage 1 and 2. You'll notice a big difference here. Now this is with basically 4 silencers out of the exhaust deleted, and the noise levels are higher. The basic conclusion here is every time you remove a silencer, the exhaust gets louder. It might sound fairly obvious, but this is the physical result. Now on tick over, it's actually quite throaty. I would say throaty, like a little rumble there. It's not going to frighten your neighbours while it's ticking over, just when you put the throttle down. I'd say stage 1 on its own is very similar to this, but it's not quite as loud. So section 3 then, removing the back boxes. You need to jack up the rear of the car for better access. You can jack up using a central point under the rear differential, which is what we did. Before raising the car, you need to ensure you loosen the wheel nuts. You need to remove the wheel to get better access. Jack up the car as much as you feel comfortable with. In our case, we use a Lego style jacking blocks to support the car. I do not like working on axle stands, particularly if you start getting quite physical with your car. The thing can be moving around. So I've built these Lego style jacking blocks. You sort of stack them up, and these are I think it's 450 to 500 millimeter square blocks in area, so they're not going anywhere. I use 2 blocks in this case. I have a maximum of 3 block stack to support under the rear sill. As you can see here, the jacking point, if you're not familiar with, is the joggle at the back there of the sill. So I supported both sides in the same way to make sure the car was fully secure. Then I removed the rear wheels. Removing the rear wheel gives an excellent access to that rear wheel arch area, and you can see there, you can clearly see the rear exhaust joint. In our case, it's a U-clamp because I've obviously modified the exhaust before, but you'll probably see the standard Jaguar exhaust clamp if it's being done for this first time. Normally these clamps are completely rusted out, and you probably have to grind it off. You might be lucky enough, but you probably won't want to reuse it. You need to loosen the nuts on the U-joint or the clamp. Believe the two actually both use 13 millimeter spanner. Ignore I put 10 there. It's actually 13. You need to move the U-clamp up and away from the joint, and then go up to the back of the car, and you've got to try and remove the exhaust hanger rubber joint. Now, to do this, you need to get at the top mount. I used some lubricant, some WD-40, just to lubricate that a bit to assist with removal. It does take a big pull to get it off. but it will come loose, and then the joint can just sit there. To be honest, it's a loose. The back end of the exhaust is loose. Although it is loose, it probably won't move a lot because it's quite rigid when it's clamped to the back there. Now you should be able to push and rotate the exhaust downwards, and it should pivot on the joint under the axle there. Push and rotate it down as much as possible, obviously without damaging anything. Then the rear exhaust should actually start to drop from the joint. Again, we used a bit of lubricant on this joint to ease its departure. They continue rotating up and down while pulling at that joint in the wheel arch, and the thing will just come off. The exhaust will work free. In our case, I say it was a Romulus Remus Sport stainless steel system, and I was lucky enough to sell them very easily to a local guy. I hope he's enjoying those. They had just for reference, they had a very large diameter, 100mm exhaust trims, completely round. Really nice sound. Section 4 then, fitting stage 1. First step, when I bought these second-hand, they did look a bit grubby, but it was only just dirt and a bit of tar off the road. So we used a bit of a stainless steel polishing kit to get mirror finish shine on it. It really did make a big difference. So now to start fitting them to the car. So the new straight pipes will be a direct fit onto the existing exhaust system, which I think is 2¼ inches throughout, or 54mm in diameter. You will have the bends per side are subtly different. There's a driver and a passenger side are slightly different. You'll probably find they're marked by whoever you bought them off. They'll mark which side they came off. Now, the first thing to do then is to pick the right exhaust pipe and then fit the rubber hanger. As I say, I bought a different rubber hanger with 3 holes in it to give us more flexibility of the mounting point. But you might get away with using the existing or the one that came off the vehicle already. So we hung that up first at the exhaust hanger point. This remained loose until fully aligned. Then we fitted the U-clamp as it fitted straight onto the pipe. Push the two together. Again, we used your WD-40 to lubricate the joint. We didn't use any exhaust gum. There's not that much exhaust pressure down this far down the exhaust, so it's not really needed, to be honest. And then we moved the U-clamp in position, tightened it up again with a 13mm spanner. You should be able to move then the hanger and the rubber joint to a position where they're sort of hanging vertically under each other. Then you need to slide the exhaust trims onto the end to assist with positioning and alignment. Right, section 5, alignment. This is the tricky bit. How to get it matched up to your rear bumper. So we're looking to achieve an equal gap around the rear bumper. You need to make some decisions as to how you'd like it to look. We found there were several ways of adjusting the trim to the bumper opening. If you've got any other ideas how you did yours, I'd much appreciate it. Please put an answer in the comment. We used as I say, the rubber mount, different hole positions to adjust the trim in the vertically. We could also rotate the hanger outboard to adjust the position of the trim sort of diagonally outboard. The last resort was actually to shorten the exhaust at the joint. The idea of this is actually to take them both apart and cut the joint slightly. You need to cut both the exhaust and the stage 1 pipes and the stage 2 in order to make this work properly. And then the exhaust itself will move diagonally inboard to the car, following the arrows, if you would. So basically we found a combination of those methods, we're able to get a good result. So on the passenger side, I could basically it almost fitted perfectly from the start. There's a little bit of jiggling about with the rubbers and what have you. I got a good result. But on the driver's side, it really was a nightmare, and I did have to cut the exhaust on that side. Then you need to tighten up the exhaust hanger when you're happy, fully tighten the U-clamp, and next you need to adjust the length of the exhaust trim. Now this was a bit of observation. So before I actually bought these Stage 1, I'd seen a lot of cars with Stage 1 exhaust with these tail trims sticking way further out of the bumper than I personally like. It's a bit of an old style look, to be honest, but I don't like that look. I wanted to be more flush to the bumper, and I wondered why everybody was doing this. It turns out it was maybe due to the weld blow through, which creates an internal stop inside that tail trim. So what I did, I wasn't happy with it. I used a round file to remove this excess weld. You can see here, it didn't actually take a lot to remove. There's not a massive amount of excess weld, but it's enough to stop the trim going fully onto the exhaust pipe. Remove the material like this did allow it to sit further back as I wanted. So with that removed, you can move the tail trim in and out of the bumper until you're happy with how it fitted. I wanted about 10mm sticking out of the bumper, but not further than the bumper itself. I'm quite happy with that. Finally, this is where you use your 10mm spanner and socket is actually to tighten up the 3 clamps provided for the trim. All that was all one side done, and I basically did exactly the same as say on the other side. Once we've done that, it was nice to enjoy that V8 sound, that roar. I was really happy with the result. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you find it useful. If you're considering a Stage 1 or a Stage 2 exhaust mod, I'd highly recommend it. Please like, comment, share and subscribe for more XK8 videos.